Page 6? What's next? Page 6. Ah, okay. Next amendment, Mr. President, is on page 6, line 30. After the word field, semicolon, delete the word end. And still on the same page, line 32, after the word development period, delete the period and replace it with a semicolon and add the word end after the semicolon. And after letter E, add a new letter F, providing technical support for the use of digital health tools and telehealth platforms in the performance of their duties. We submit, Mr. President.
Sorry, Mr. President, I'm following the matrix. What section is that in?
I think section 11,
6.
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Letter
sorry, I
F.
see it in section 11.
letter D.
Yes po. So after the words and professional development.
Yes.
Yes, accepted.
correct.
Accepted, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendment is carried.
Meron pa? Our next amendment is on page 8, line 27. Delete the word end. And on the same page, on line 31, after the word duties, delete the period and replace it with a semicolon and then add the word end. And add a new number 3, which shall read, psychosocial support and mental health services, recognizing the emotional, psychological, and physical demands inherent in frontline community health service. The DOH, in coordination with concerned LGUs, shall ensure that all registered BHWs, whether volunteer or employed, have access to psychosocial support and mental health services appropriate to their role and circumstances, which shall be in accordance with Republic Act number 11036, otherwise known as the Mental Health Act. We submit, Mr. President.
Accepted, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendments carried.
Thank you, Mr. President. That is all. Thank you, Madam Sponsor.
Thank you, gentlelady, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you to Senator Pia, and I've worked with Senator Pia in many education bills. Lagi niyang pinapaganda at sinasharpen yung mga bills natin. Kaya maraming salamat sa amendments and interventions.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, with that, I move to close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, period of amendments hereby closed.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
President.
President.
Thank you also to the our colleague, Senator Pia Cayetano, and the sponsor, Senator Risa Ontiveros. With that, I move to approve on second reading, subject to style, Mr. President, the measure.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the aforementioned bill is hereby approved on second reading, subject to style.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I move to suspend consideration of the same.
The consideration of the aforementioned bills hereby suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we consider Senate Bill number 1511 under Committee Report number 15.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Hospital detention. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that this is the hospital detention measure. We are, of course, against hospital detention of the patients. Anti-hospital, that's right. Thank you for clarifying, Senator Pia. It's the anti-hospital detention bill or act, Mr. President. And we'd like to recognize the sponsors, Senator Risa Ontiveros, and our distinguished colleague, Senator Pia Cayetano, to propound the amendments, Mr. President. We're in the period of amendments, just for the
We
information.
recognize the gentlelady from Panay, Senator Risa Ontiveros, and to propound her amendments, the gentlelady from Taguig, Senator Pia Cayetano.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the information of the body and to remind the sponsor, when we were in the period of interpellation, this representation agreed that we close the period of interpellation on the condition that we would be able to propound questions during the period of amendment to help us formulate the proper amendments and to also enlighten the body on the issues, because for the record, this bill amends the law that this representation sponsored 15 years ago. So I also congratulated the sponsor during my first amendment that the first time I made amendments, that it is high time that we review this. So I'm supportive of this, but I just need to be able to propound these clarificatory questions, because I hope the body will engage with us, because I think it requires a whole of body approach in solving this issue. Because the next issue I'm going to take up might have a very big impact on the financial constraints of government. So if with her honor's permission, can I proceed?
Yes, Mr. President.
So we will start now on section 2, which is,
Just to put everyone on the same page, we provided a clean copy to the body dated May 19. No? So,
Yes, Mr.
yeah,
President.
so that will be the base bill that we'll be referring to.
okay. So I would like to bring the body up to speed. No, the current law requires that there is a promissory note that is executed by the patient, and the reason for this, dear colleagues, is because a lot of the private hospitals, they do not have endless cash flow. They are also running a business. Karamihan po niyan mga single proprietary owners na mga doktor mismo, and they also have to pay for their staff, for their lab technicians, for they have to cover all the investments they made, the purchases of their equipment, etc. So the reason that the law requires a promissory note, kasi hindi naman din kayang saluhin ng mga private hospitals yung yung hospital bill ng mga pasyente. Sino magbabayad, di ba? I mean, common sense po sa lahat ng kahit sari-sari store ka, kahit anong negosyo mo, at some point somebody has to pay the bills. So ang law natin as it stands may promissory note, but the proposed amendment of the sponsor is, provided that no promissory note shall be required of indigent patients who have been endorsed by the Medical Social Services Office of the hospital, medical clinic, or any similar facility to the Department of Social Welfare and Development. Provided further that those patients who are partially recovered shall sign a waiver undertaking that they are assuming the risk of the consequences for requesting for discharge despite having not fully recovered. So ang question po natin sa sponsor natin, magkano po ang impact nito sa ating private hospitals na wala ng promissory note? Magkano ba ang normal? Her honor can answer in any way she would like based on the data that she has. Ilan ba ang indigent patients natin na pumapasok sa DOH hospitals? Because for now, pag DOH hospital, sabi ng DOH at ng PhilHealth, wala nang babayaran. Yun ang zero
Balance billing.
ZBB. Zero, I was gonna say zero sum, parang iba namang concept yun. Zero balance billing, ZBB. So yan ang DOH hospitals. And then, na-cover na ba yung LGU hospitals? Hindi pa? Hindi pa po, parang nagpa-pilot na lang. Okay, so yung question natin, when this was first brought up, I think we were deliberating the budget. Alam ng Senate President yan kasi siya yung chairman ng ating Committee on Finance. Yung question is, paano naman yung mga LGU hospitals? Kasi if you are a patient, you do not even distinguish between a DOH hospital and an LGU hospital. Basta you will go to a hospital that is near you and that can take care of you. So hirap na hirap yung mga mayor na masabi sa pasyente na, ay hindi ka namin covered kasi hindi kami DOH. LGU, yung pasyente, ha? They do not understand that distinction because in their mind, this is a public hospital. Sabi, ZBB. So later on, nag-clarify ang DOH na DOH hospitals lang. And then now, my understanding is they are piloting some LG hospitals. I might have some numbers. I will also be happy to share what I have, but I believe it is incumbent upon the sponsor who is now proposing na wala ng promissory note kasi sino ang sasagot nito? Ang concern ko is we are partners, public and private institutions are partners in delivering health service in this country. So we do not want to see these private hospitals shut down because wala na hong magbabayad ng kanilang mga bills. I don't know if there are arrangements that have been made already prior to the passage of this bill to ensure that these private hospitals will be paid. Because even the LGU hospitals, nandun pa lang tayo sa dry run or ang tawag doon? Pilot testing. So I give the floor to Her Honor to enlighten us because I would love to be able to support the needs of the indigent patients, but I also don't want the private hospitals to close.
Thank you, Mr. President. Of course, I also share that particular concern of the gentle lady from Taguigan Pateros. As to her first question, kung magkano lahat-lahat ang magiging financial implications sa mga ospital kung maipasa natin itong batas na ito. Unfortunately, there's no concrete data of the universe of that amount, but at the very least, pwede nating sabihin na variable yung fees, no? The fees range from as low as 50,000 pesos to 1 million pesos per patient. Depende sa kaso. Then of course, we would need to multiply that to come up with the range, multiply that with yung pangalawang tanong ng gentle lady kung ilan lahat yung mga indigent patients ang hindi nakakasettle ng bills nila under the current system. And before I go to ano yung kapalit ng current system proposed in this bill, I would just like to note, Mr. President, na because of this concern being raised by the gentle lady, kaya alam ko rin po na Senator Joel will also propose amendments in terms of transparency of billing and charges dahil sa cost variability na ito. Alright, then dako na po ako, Mr. President, sa kung hindi na magpapatuloy yung kasalukuyang promissory note system, ano naman ang kahit papaanong mga garantya o reassurance sa mga ospital na they will be eventually paid. The bill proposes at least 5 which may be used either singly or in combination with each other. So the promissory note or yung katumbas ng promissory note shall be secured by any or a combination of the following: a mortgage over real or personal property of the patient, a relative, or a co-maker. B, a guarantee of a co-maker who shall be jointly and severally liable. C, a deed of assignment. Dito importante, Mr. President, gentle lady, yung papel ng mga government financial institutions. A deed of assignment of the loan proceeds or benefits entitlement from the Social Security system or the government service insurance system in case the patient is an active member thereof. D, a guarantee letter from the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, and in the case nga po of indigent and financially incapacitated patients, a guarantee letter from the Department of Social Welfare and Development or the Department of Health. So, at least in the interim, Mr. President, between when dapat ma-discharge na yung indigent patient kahit may balanse pa siya sa bill and the time na mako-compensate nga yung ospital, ito po yung nakitang mga kapalit na mala promissory note o garansya para sa kanila, Mr. President.
Mr. President, perhaps the sponsor can enlighten me because, with all due respect, yung binasa niyo po is Section 2, which states the promissory note shall be secured by any or a combination of the following. Yun ang binasa nyo. So this is, the promissory note will be secured by these items, yung inisa-isa nyo. What you told me is ito yung mga kapalit ng promissory note. Hindi ho yan ang nakasulat sa bill ninyo, Mr. President.
No, Mr. President, it will be a different system. Kung dati the indigent patient and his or her family were on their own to execute a promissory note kahit wala or kulang na kulang ang anumang collateral. Here, there is a promissory note in their name but backed up not by them all by their lonesome, pero itong mga social protection and government financial institutions natin. And without leaving this topic, if the gentle lady wishes to pursue it, just relating to an earlier question of hers, in terms of proxy data, yung tinatanong po nila na magkanong magiging cost implications, lalo na sa mga private hospitals, kung maipasa yung batas na ito.
So babalikan,
If-
sorry, just so for clarity lang,
Yes.
binabalikan niyo yung unang question ko kasi yung question natin ngayon is your response to me.
Yes.
So which one first?
Oh,
Because
sabi
hindi pa
ko po,
tayo-
Mr. President, na without leaving this topic, just para hindi
So,
ko
balikan natin
malimutan.
yung sa numbers.
Yes,
Okay,
I just
sure.
want to add
Okay.
yung sagot ko kanina dun sa isa sa mga naunang tanong ng gentle lady na to use proxy data, if private hospitals are claiming 7 to 10 billion pesos from PhilHealth, then at least for purposes of discussion, we could assume around that amount yung implication sa kanila kapag maipasa itong batas. So that 7B to 10B worth of payments due sa kanila ay ipasasalo natin sa ganitong bagong sistema. And then again, mindful of the...
Can I comment on that one?
Yes,
Kasi
Mr. President.
otherwise, either I'll comment on this now or ililista ko lang kasi
It's all right, Mr. President.
sige. So
The gentle lady may
her
proceed.
honor's theory is that based on the claim of private hospitals to PhilHealth, and her honor said it is 7 to 10 billion, yan yung ina-assume ng ating sponsor na amount that is needed to cover indigent patients.
Yes, Mr. President.
Saan ho nanggaling yung figure na yon?
From PhilHealth, Mr. President, with this
What is
aggregated...
the exact line item for that? Because I've sponsored the budget of PhilHealth and maraming hinihingi ang PhilHealth. So hindi ko kayang tanggapin na yan necessarily ang pang-indigent because the record also shows napakaraming indigent patients who don't bother going to the hospital because alam nilang wala silang pangbayad. So this is probably the bill for lower middle class or middle class patients who cannot even cover the bill. Hindi pa yata ito yung sa indigent. So we have to be clear if we are going to mention numbers that this definitely covers the sector that we are referring to. Yun lang naman yung reason kung bakit nagtatanong ako ng numbers kasi nakakatakot magpasa ng batas na to at batas ko to at gusto ko naman talaga siyang pagandahin na hindi tayo clear sa figures natin, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President, I'm just pulling up the disaggregated data for which we came up with this proxy data of a range of 7 to 10 billion pesos. And I will be giving that to the gentle lady during this interpellation or this period of amendments. Additionally, Mr. President, before returning to the latest concern of the gentle lady, mindful of the apprehensions and reservations raised by the good senator from Taguig Pateros regarding the possible cost implications to government, the sponsor wishes to place on record that the provision is anchored on the availability of medical assistance programs of various government agencies as provided under this bill na binanggit ko nga, Mr. President, as well as, of course, the continued implementation of the government's zero balance and no balance billing policies. And in line with this, the sponsor is likewise inclined to accept the proposed amendment of the good senator from Taguig when she proposes it, requiring the Department of Health to establish the criteria for indigency and the requirements necessary to qualify for the said exemption at a later time, Mr. President. So the latest concern of the gentle lady was
So her honor made a statement that there are other ways the bill intends to support the indigent patient. And her honor mentioned letter A, B, C, D, E. Sabi nyo, 5 po yun. Ang sinasabi ko po sa inyo, kindly educate me because yung sinabi nyo, wala yan sa bill. Ang naka-enumerate dyan na 5 items are it says the promissory note will be secured by any of the following. So may promissory note pa rin. So Her Honor is simply addressing dalawang sitwasyon natin. Sino ang kailangan magbigay ng promissory note at based dun sa dito sa amendment nyo, the indigents will no longer be required to execute a promissory note. Tapos dinagdag nyo, pero ito yung mga pwede nilang gawin. Wala nga ho yun. Yung sinabi nyo, wala sa bill nyo. Ang nasa bill, yung mga 5 items that are used to secure a promissory note. So that covers the people who need to pay a promissory note. So Her Honor has to clarify this because it's not, what she's saying is not in the bill.
Actually, Mr. President, it is in the bill. In fact, in answering this question, nag-take off po ako dun sa page 3, line 17, section 2, na kinwote ng gentle lady from Taguigan Pateros. And kaya tinalakay ko po yun na in lieu of the current promissory note system, it's still called the promissory note here, pero hindi na po yung solong mga collateral o ano pa mang meager resources na meron yung indigent patient or family ang magsisecure niyan. Ang magbaback up na po nun ay yung mga social protection agencies at saka government financial institutions natin tulad ng SSS, GSIS, PCSO, DSWD, DOH. So in effect,
Can Her
the
Honor
promissory
specific-
note, if I may just complete
Yeah, sure.
this last sentence, the promissory note will no longer be issued by their lonesome nga po ng indigent patient and family, then bahala na sila sa buhay nila kung paano i-honor. In a way, it will be for the benefit of the hospital na mayroong hindi yung mahirap na iyon, pero may government institutions na nagsisiguro sa kanila na you will be paid, Mr. President.
Should we suspend? Because what Her Honor is saying is not written in the bill. So I don't know if
We
Her
may
Honor
suspend,
would
Mr. President,
like
but-
me to approach and try to explain, because I understand what Her Honor is trying to say. What I'm saying is it's not written in the bill.
Mr.
You
President,
can
we
ask
may
your
suspend.
staff because it's not written in the bill.
We may suspend, Mr. President, but it is actually written in the bill, and I was
Kindly read
quoting
it.
the gentle lady
Kindly read it
when I
into the
responded to her
record.
question.
Then read it into the record because yung binanggit niyong 5 items, nandyan nakasulat yan. But line 27, section 2, line 27 says, the promissory note shall be secured by any or a combination of the following. Yun nga kung binanggit nyo, nandyan yan. But it says a promissory note will be secured. My question was, paano mabubuhay ang mga ospital kung wala ng promissory note? Hindi nyo pwedeng ibato ito kasi ito sabi, the promissory note will be secured by the following. Perhaps Your Honor would like to make an amendment that says that in lieu of the promissory note, kasi yun ho ang sinasabi ninyo. Ang sinasabi ko, hindi nga ho nakasulat. So would you like to propose? Because we are happy to study and support. But hindi nga ho nakasulat yun. Yun lang naman ang puntos ko. Hindi pwede kasi yung intention natin, hindi klaro sa batas.
Well, that's why I'm glad, Mr. President, that we are in the period of amendments because this representation is very open to proposed amendments, including subject to style, to not just improve the content of the bill, pero klaruhin ang crystal clear kung ano po yung intent niya. So no problem with that, Mr. President.
Yes, and that is what I'm doing by using the period of amendment to make the interpellations. I am making it known to the sponsor that what she is saying is not in the bill. So I believe if yun po ang intention ng sponsor, then kayo po ang isulat niyo po yun kasi kayo ang nagsabing yun yung gusto niyong gawin eh. Di kayo po ang magsulat nun. And we will be happy to review it kasi hindi ko po amendment yun. Ako yung nagtatanong kung ano ang gagawin ng ospital kung wala siyang promissory note. So sabi niyo ito. So tinatanong ko saan nakasulat yun?
No problem, Mr. President. We can improve this in this very period of amendments.
Thank you. Tapos balikan ho natin yung expenses, no? I can suspend and Her Honor can look at her numbers because I will also be presenting numbers. Her Honor also mentioned 50K to 1 million per patient. So does Her Honor intend to, kasi yun yung unang binanggit nyo. So does Her Honor intend to come up with a number based on those, that range of expense? That Her Honor mentioned. Kasi kailangan nga natin ng number because we have to find out where will we get this amount to support naman these private hospitals. Otherwise, this is a disaster because ang mangyayari, pipila lang sila sa Malacanang, magmamakaawa sila na wag ipasa to. Sayang naman yung effort natin dahil we all have the same intention. Pagandahin yung health system natin. Wag ma-detain ang mga tao, masuportahan ng mga indigents, but we have to know our numbers before we make these kind of amendments. And one more on that section, so maybe we can take a break so we can work on this section.
Before we go on to the one more point of the gentle lady, Mr. President, definitely this is not going to turn out to be a disaster. The whole point of the bill, as the gentle lady herself has said, is to amend and update the original law. And that is why we are in the period of amendment to further improve it, Mr. President.
The only reason I use the word disaster, Mr. President, because time and again, the small private hospitals have practically kneel down in front of us, begging us for support. So pag pinasa natin to, hindi dahil sa hindi natin kinonsider yung burden sa kanila, then disaster yun para sa kanila. At kung disaster yun para sa kanila, disaster yun sa healthcare system natin because we are partners. Yun lang naman ang sa akin. We are partners, public and private. May mga lugar, and again, the Senate President is listening intently. Thank you because alam nyo din to. There are areas where there are no public hospitals. So, private hospital yung inaasahan mo doon. Tapos, kung yung mga indigent patients, sabi natin, magpapasa tayo, wala nang promissory note. At again, forgive me kung hindi ko lang naiintindihan. Kaya nga sabi ko, please feel free to point it out and educate me kung saan dyan nakalagay. Ano ba yung in lieu of the promissory note na matatanggap ng ospital? Kasi, kung wala, mababaon sila sa utang, magsasara sila. And that threat has happened many times. Alam ni Senate President yan. Ilang beses yan hindi lang nag-threaten. Some of them really closed. During the pandemic, they closed because PhilHealth was not fast enough to reimburse them for the expenses that they incurred during the time. Marami hong nagsara. So I'm just banking on experience to ensure that what we pass is a responsible response to this issue. So before I leave section 2, ang idadagdag ko is, did Her Honor take up during the hearings this possible amendment na lahat ng indigent patients wala ng promissory note? Na-take up ho ba yan sa hearing so that you would be able to hear the concerns of the different sectors, including the small private hospitals, the small clinic owners, yung mga lying-in clinic. Maliit lang ang singil niya na pag nanganak ha. I'll try to pull out that number. It's not a huge amount because it's just a lying-in clinic, overnight pag nanganak. So pag indigent, the amendment now is lahat ng indigent patients wala nang babayaran. Wala nang promissory note. Sorry, to be clear, wala nang promissory note. So, was this taken up during the hearing so that marinig natin yung side nila?
No, Mr. President, it wasn't taken up to have no promissory notes. The change, Mr. President, was that, as I mentioned earlier, hindi na po mag-isang mag-i-issue ng promissory note ang mahirap kahit sapilitang magkakabit siya ng kakarampot na nga na pagmamayari niya bilang di umanong collateral. Ang magbaback up na po ng promissory note, which is now more a document for the benefit of the hospital ay ito nga pong mga social protection at saka government financial institutions na binanggit ko po kanina.
So ang ibig niyo,
Mr.
so two
President.
things I want to establish. Number one, hindi niyo nga na-take up yan. Pero ang impact nito napakalaki sa private hospitals. Wala silang chance na marinig ang side nila kasi hindi yan na-take up during the hearing. Ang sa akin naman po, I understand, no? May liberty naman po tayo mga parliamentarians na ma-take up sa floor ang mga iba-ibang amendment. Naintindihan ko naman po yun. Pero pag napakabigat nung impact, it's either na-take up yan sa hearing or bibigyan natin sila ng time na mabigay din nila yung posisyon nila dito. Kasi sobrang laki talaga ng impact sa kanila. Please give me the number of private hospitals. 864 private hospitals. There are 864 private hospitals spread out all over the country. And like I said, there are certain areas where there are no public hospitals. So ang tatakbuhan lang ng tao, private hospitals. So kung hindi sila narinig sa hearing, sana man lang marinig din natin yung position nila on this issue. And before, as I said, I leave section 2. Your Honor
if
keeps
the gentlelady would allow,
Of
before we
course.
move to another
No, I'm not leaving yet.
point.
I have another point on section 2.
If I may just respond to this latest point. I did not say po na hindi inimbita ang mga private hospitals. We did invite them to the hearing, and as far as we can remember, they had no opposition to changing the promissory note system, and in large part changing it by backing it up, hindi sa collateral ng mga mahihirap na, kundi yung guarantee at financial capacity ng mga government financial institutions at saka social protection agencies. Ang sinabi ko pong hindi ay hindi natalakay ang isang no promissory note system. But did we invite the private hospitals? We did po, Mr. President.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that. Maganda namang clarification yon kasi magandang napapakita naman natin na naimbita naman. Pero yung topic na yan hindi na pag-usapan. And if Her Honor, again, may clarify, ano ho ba yung version ng bill na natalakay doon? Yung no promissory note sa indigent patient, sabi ng ating sponsor, hindi natalakay. How about yung no promissory note to senior indigent patients? Natalakay yata yon. Tama ho ba ako?
Yes, Mr. President, tinalakay po para sa senior citizens.
So ang pagkakaintindi po natin, and again, correct me if my understanding is wrong, ang na-bring up at ang alam ng mga nag-attend ng hearing is that i-consider yung no promissory note sa senior indigent patient. Kaya lang, pagdating na sa committee report, naging indigent patients lahat na. Kaya nga pati yung example ko na maternity lying in clinic, kasama na rin po dyan. Ang laki rin ho ng tama nila. When I said 800 plus hospitals, yung sinabi kong 864 na establishments, mga hospital po yun. Hindi pa kasama dyan yung lying in. Baka mas marami pa. So that's why I'm just asking, do we know? And I'm not a stickler for kailangan na take up yan sa hearing. Pero ang sa akin, I am a stickler for narinig ba natin yung concerns nila at yung side nila. If merong mag-advocate for them here, that's okay. If the sponsor has information that can assure us that protected din naman yung interest nila, that hindi naman sila mababankrupt, open naman din po tayo doon. That's the only reason I bring it up, Mr. President. Now,
yes, Mr. President, I do appreciate that. And kaya nga po, the bill, gusto niyang i-bring in yung financial power at stability ng mga government financial institutions natin, including nga po the pension institutions and the social protection departments. Additionally, Mr. President, looking at page 4, lines 14 to 17, yun po yung letter E dito po sa section 2 natin, assumed po doon yung coverage for the indigent and the financially incapacitated. Kasi nga po nakalagay dito, in lieu of a promissory note, a guarantee or a reference letter from DOH or DSWD ang mag-assume. So, as the gentlelady and I were starting to discuss earlier, we can in this period of amendments, clarify the wordings to assume that promissory equals guarantee. So a promissory note is a guarantee note of these agencies and institutions of government. So sa ngayon, no promissory note for senior citizens, but this representation is anticipating or it has an amendment from the Senate President na ang mako-cover all indigent patients. And I'm very willing to, I support that. So the amendment po, yung covering all indigent, I would accept. And that is also why, Mr. President, we are accepting, again, to reiterate, we are accepting the proposed amendment of the gentle lady for DOH to put eligibility criteria in recognition of her concern. And in fact, I already accepted that, Mr. President, last month for the record.
And for the record, I have no issue covering indigent patients. I am just asking for the financial data so that we are assured that when we go into the budget debates, we will have the full support of all our colleagues to support this amount because mababankrupt nga ang mga private hospitals. And again, I am very willing to hear the numbers to ensure that hindi sila mababankrupt kasi yun lang naman yung objective natin, Mr. President, to ensure that we have a health ecosystem na buhay ang ating private health institutions at nandyan yung mga support na kailangan nila. Kasi bago nga itong factor na dinadagdag natin. It's new. It's new. It does not exist now. Indigent patients are required to provide a promissory note, which means they have the legal obligation, to be clear sa mga nakikinig, they have the legal obligation to cover that amount. That is the meaning of a promissory note. You have
Yes,
a
Mr.
legal backing
President.
to cover that amount. So I understand what Her Honor is saying, that she has these government agencies that will provide, and Her Honor even mentioned letter E on the next page. Wala hong problema yon, pero I will just end this point, Mr. President, and ask Her Honor to read line 27, which is on page 3. Line 27 lang po, hanggang 30, kasi marami namang nakabura doon eh. Let's put it on record.
The gentle lady would like me to read it. So page 3, lines 27 to 30, the promissory note shall be secured by any or a combination of the following.
And is Her Honor, is my understanding correct that yung the following na yan nga po yung 5 na binanggit nyo? Tama ho ba ako?
Tama po, Mr. President.
So, ano hong binasa nyo? The promissory note shall be secured. So, we are talking about a situation where there is a promissory note involved. And what I have been trying to say, Your Honor, is for the indigent patient, it is your amendment that says that line 17, would Her Honor like to read? I can read it, she can read it, but that is your amendment, Your Honor. Line
Yes, Mr. President, provided that no promissory note shall be required of indigent patients who have been endorsed by the Medical Social Sciences Services Office of the hospital, medical clinic, or any similar facility to the Department of Social Welfare and Development. And just to reiterate, Mr. President, earlier, sinabi ko na rin po na we can clarify wordings to assume promissory equals guarantee. So it could be a guarantee note. Saka wala rin naman pong changes sa
Yes.
Mr. President, assuming sa budget allocation dahil nasa loob naman ng DOH at DSWD budgets yung MAIFIP at AIX respectively nila. Yun po yung intent din sa bill na to.
Mr. President, Your Honor just read line 17, no promissory note shall be required of indigent patients. So paano sila mag-a-avail nung nasa line 27 nga na binasa nyo? Yun nga yung provision that requires a promissory note. It simply elaborates what can be, what security is allowed. Yun lang yung pinopoint out natin. Kasi Her Honor keeps on pointing to the alternatives to a promissory note. Wala nga hong nakasulat sa batas nyo na ganon because Section 27, which you just read, Her Honor just read into the record, refers to the security of a promissory note.
That's
So
why,
you
Mr.
might require
President,
another provision, Your Honor. I am just trying to put into words your intentions kasi kayo ho ang may intention na ito eh.
although, Mr. President, as I already mentioned earlier, yung in terms of yung wording, yung language ng bill, pwede na nga pong palitan yung promissory note with guarantee note just to indicate nga na hindi na po ito yung kasalukuyan, hindi nga dating kasalukuyang sistema na sapilitang pinapapirma yung mahirap na pasyente o pamilya niya ng promissory note. Kahit halos wala siyang maidikit na collateral dyan. So if it makes it clearer, change promissory note to guarantee note. And of course, kung saan sa bill nag-a-appear yung salitang promissory, papalitan din ng salitang guarantee note. Ang importanteng pagbabago, Mr. President, ay pinapasok na po natin yung financial backing nitong mga pension systems at nitong mga government agencies, nitong mga government financial institutions, na ito yung magsaspare dun sa mahirap na pasyente at pamilya niya na sapilitang magpirma ng promissory note. Ito rin yung assurance sa ospital, pati yung mga private hospitals na definitely mababayaran sila. Kung tama po yung estimation po namin na 7 to 10 billion pesos ang financial implication, particularly sa mga private hospitals. Certainly, pag sinuma natin yung financial might nitong nakalista sa 5 letters dito, kakayanin po nilang garantiyahan yan. And yan ang assurance na mababayaran ang mga ospital sa mga serbisyong ibinibigay nila sa mga indigents, Mr. President.
With the kind permission of Senator Pia, the way I understand it, dalawa po yung categories, may indigent and non-indigent. Ang indigent, hindi na po pwede mag-issue ng promissory note. Dito papasok si DSWD para to assure the payment to the hospitals. For non-indigent, pwede pa rin mag-issue ng promissory note backed by the 5 different guarantees. So, in
Maaari
other
po,
words,
Mr. President.
I think that's the way it's structured.
But that is correct.
Yeah. So I think ang suggestion ko is to make it very clear that for indigent, it's the government that will assure the payment to the hospital so that yung
Yes.
operations nila, I see the point of Senator Pia, hindi ma-hamper yung operations nila. I think that should be stated clear in the bill. Para kung ako man si hospital, walang promissory note, si government na will step in and pay for my arrears.
Yes, Mr. President, and will do to make it clearer. Pero salamat din sa pagbanggit kahit yung mga non-indigent, halimbawa yung mga middle class. Minsan kahit middle class po ay maaring kapusin. So this could be like a range of financial buffer para sa mga pasyente. Yung mga indigent talaga, at least masasandigan nila itong mga institusyon, and yung non-indigent, if necessary at kung magkakwalipika sa mga criteria, maaring mag-avail of din kahit partially. Pero syempre, alam naman po natin ang pinakamadalas na de-detain dahil may bill or may balanse pa sa bill ay yung mga mahihirap. So sila po yung aasahan sana natin dito sa 5 nakalista.
Yeah, well, I suggest for the indigent, good sponsor, malista natin yung DSWD, DOH, PhilHealth, even PCSO, yung mga government institutions who provide assistance so that kung ako yung hospital, alam ko, assured din ako na mababayaran din ako. Yun ang, I think Senator Pia is correct in saying, pag maliit ka, wala ka ng, you rely on your cash flow eh. Pag mawawala yung cash flow na yun, mahirapan sila to continue with their operation. And we'll provide some suggestions to that effect.
Salamat, Mr. President. So ngayon pa lang, I could see 2 possible conditions na isasama natin or criteria. Kapag indigent patients, no promissory note. And for other patients, maaring may promissory note pero backed up pa rin by the 5 securities bilang guarantee sa ospital. And I thank the good Senate President for those that additional guidance. Mr. President, we could suspend for the moment so that we can fix the provision with the staffs, both of the good gentlewoman and the Senate President.
Yeah. So with that,
Yes,
yeah.
but what thank you for that. Thank you for the clarification. Mr. Senate President, because that's exactly what I was trying to say.
All right.
I was just pointing that out, that it is not clear where that money will come from. And what we have not established is what is that amount? Because I am prepared later on when we resume to show that the amount I have is much more than, I think Her Honor said 7 to 10 billion, if I'm not
5
mistaken.
to 7 billion pesos.
5 to 7. The
Mr.
numbers I
President.
have are much bigger. I just want to study it a little bit more because it's not my goal to prolong this. I also want to
Not
pass
7
this.
to 10,
Pero
sorry.
I want to be responsible about this. Otherwise, I will have to make a reservation in the passage of this measure because when the budget time comes, or even before that comes, mark my word, pipila ang ating mga private hospitals to object to the passing of this. And we don't want that. No, we want them to know that it's a Senate that listens to the people and passes responsible bills. Thank you, Mr. President, for your clarification.
Session
Just correct my last note, Mr. President. 7 nga po, 7 to 10 billion pesos.
My numbers are
Thank you,
much
Mr.
higher, Mr.
President.
President.
Yeah. Session suspended.
Senator Pia Cayetano to discuss further the amendments with the staff on the staff level. I move to suspend first consideration. Senate Bill number 1511. I so move.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, may we recognize Senator Lauren Legarda for
We
a
recognize
manifestation.
the gentlelady from Malabon and Antique, Senator Lauren Legarda.
Thank you very much. First time I'm addressing Senator Sherwin Gatchalian as Senate President. Congratulations once again for a very hardworking, dedicated, brilliant, disciplined public servant. So congratulations.
Thank you, Madam.
Yes, Mr. President, on behalf of the minority, may I manifest for the record that Senator Alan Peter S. Cayetano shall serve as the minority floor leader. Likewise, the minority members' presence here. This is without prejudice to the final resolution of the case currently pending before the Supreme Court. And this manifestation is to ensure the orderly discharge of the functions of the whole Senate as an institution and the minority during the pendency of said case. Thank you.
So recorded. Majority Leader.
May we recognize, Mr. President, our distinguished colleague, Senator Bam Aquino.
We recognize the gentleman from Tarlac, Senator Bam Aquino.
Mr. President, mga kababayan at kapwa ko Pilipino, noong 8 ng Hunyo, 2 kabataan na puno ng pangarap, 2 atleta ng Ateneo de Manila University men's basketball team, sina Rene Clert Baterbonia at Divine Adili, ang binawian ng buhay sa isang off-campus activity sa Aurora. Noong nakarang Huwebes, nabisita po natin ang magulang ni Rene. At sa gitna ng lungkot, dalamhati at galit, iisa lang po ang kanilang hiling, ang katotohanan. Ano ba talaga ang nangyari sa kanilang anak? At sa palagay ko po, kung ito po'y nangyari sa kahit sino sa atin, ito rin naman po ang hihingin natin. At higit pa dito. Ang trahedyang sumapit kina Rene at Divine ay nangangailangan ng kalinawan at katotohanan. At para po sa magulang, pamilya, kaibigan at komunidad ni Rene at Divine, posible pong maging espasyo ang Senado upang lumabas ang katotohanan sa mga pangyayari sa araw na yon. Sa pagdinig na ito, suriin po natin ang kasalukuyang polisiya ng DepEd, ng CHED, ng mga sports and athletic rules, regulations and standards po nito. At ang lalabas po mula sa pandinig ay maaari ring makadagdag sa ating panukala na Safer Schools Act. Kaya hinihiling po namin na atasan ng Committee on Basic Education at Committee on Justice na isagawa ang isang pagdinig at pagsiyasat ukol sa trahedyang ito. Para po sa katarungan, para po sa kaligtasan, para po sa ating kabataan, at syempre po para kay Rene at Divine. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Can you write it down?
Mr. President, I move that the manifestation and the speech of the good gentleman from Tarlac and Republic of the Philippines be referred to the Committee on Basic Education and Justice. I so move, Mr. President.
Before we refer, kami rin po ay nakikiramay po sa pamilya po ng dalawang nasawing Ateneo basketball players, si Rene Baterbonia at si Divine Adili. At kami po ay nakikisa at nakikiramay po sa pamilya ho nila. At nakakalungkot po dahil nakita ko po yung talento ni Rene at consistent na nagiging MVP siya sa iba't ibang paligsahan. At nakakahinayang dahil napakalaki po yung kanyang potensyal at mabibigay po na karangalan sa ating bansa. So nakikiramay po ko sa kanilang pamilya. We refer this to, upon the request of the good sponsor, we refer this to the Committee on Basic Education.
Basic Education and Justice, Mr. President.
Basic Education and Justice.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, just some housekeeping matters. Earlier, we elected in the morning members of the committees. We rather had elected the deputy majority leaders afterwards. So now I have to read them once again because it's not counted, Mr. President, and the committee membership. So if you will bear with me, Mr. President, with the designation of Senator Ejercito and Villanueva's deputy majority leaders, I move to elect the following members on the part of the majority. I'll just restate these, Mr. President. For social justice, there are 5 members of the majority and 4 members of the minority. And on the part of the majority, we would like to add Senator Lapid and Senator Ontiveros. I so move, Mr.
Is
President.
there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you. And of course, as I mentioned, the deputy majority leaders, Ejercito and Villanueva, are members as well. For the part of the Energy Committee, Mr. President, there are 8 majority and 7 minority. I'll move to elect the following members of the part of the majority. Senator Panfilo Lacson, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Aquino, Senator Pangilinan, and Senator Raffy Tulfo, with the 2 deputy majority leaders as also members. And we'd like to designate Senator J.V. Ejercito as Vice Chairperson of the said committee. I so move, Mr.
Is
President.
there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
I'm only reading the members. The members lang. Okay, yes, we'd like to also manifest for the record, with the permission of Senator Risa Ontiveros, that in the Committee on Health, Senator Bongo be made the vice chair, Mr. President.
So recorded.
Thank you. For the Committee on Trade and Commerce and Entrepreneurship, I move to elect the following members. Here we have majority of 6 members, minority of 5 members. On the part of the majority, Senator Escudero, Senator Lapid, Senator Pangilinan, and of course the 2 deputy majority leaders. So move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
These are just memberships, Mr. President. I'm no longer reading the chairmanships. The chairman already, for the record. This is just for the memberships. Mr. President, for the Committee on Agriculture, there are 9 members of the majority, 8 members of the minority. I move to elect the following members of the part of the majority. Senator Ontiveros, Senator Aquino, Senator Lapid, Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator Raffy Tulfo, Senator Escudero, and the 2 deputy majority floor leaders, Senator Ejercito and Senator Villanueva. So move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, for the Committee on Science and Technology, there are 4 members of the majority, 3 members of the minority. I move that we elect the following members. On the part of the majority, of course, we already had elected the chairperson, Senator Aquino. Members are Senator Pangilinan, Senator Ejercito, and Senator Villanueva. So, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
On the part of the Committee on Justice and Human Rights, there are 5 members in the majority, 4 in the minority. And this is, of course, headed by Senator Kiko Pangilinan. I move to elect the following members: Senator Lacson, Senator Ontiveros, and the 2 deputy majority leaders, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, on the part of the Committee on Rules, which yours truly is heading, I move to elect the following members on the part of the majority: Senator Pangilinan, Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator J.V. Ejercito, and Senator Villanueva. So move, Mr.
Is
President.
there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, on the part of the Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, there are 6 members of the majority, 5 in the minority. I move that on the part of the majority, of course, the chairperson, Senator Risa Ontiveros, the members are Senator Aquino, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Erwin Tulfo, and Senator Ejercito and Senator Villanueva. So move, Mr.
Is
President.
there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, on the Committee on Ways and Means, which I believe Senator Lacson is the chair, there are 8 members of the majority, 7 in the minority. The part of the majority, we have Senator Aquino, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator Raffy Tulfo, and Senator J.V. Ejercito and Senator Villanueva, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
We also have we're designating Senator Aquino as the vice chairperson of the said committee.
Duly recorded.
And also for the Committee on Health, as I mentioned earlier, we already designated Senator Ejercito as vice chairperson and also Senator Bongo.
Duly recorded.
For the membership of the Games and Amusements, we have 6 in the majority, 5 in the minority. The chair, of course, is Senator Lito Lapid. I move to elect the following as members of the majority: Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator Escudero, Senator Lacson, of course, Senator Ejercito, and Senator Villanueva.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
And we designate Senator Erwin Tulfo as vice chairperson of the committee.
So recorded.
Mr. President, on the Committee on Ethics, of course, this is headed by Senator Tito Soto, our Senate President pro tempore. There's 4 in the majority, 3 in the minority. On the part of the majority, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Raffy Tulfo, Senator Lacson, and Senator J.V. Ejercito, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion's approved.
Mr. President, the Committee on Public Services, there are 7 in the majority, 6 in the minority. And it's headed by Senator Raffy Tulfo. I move to elect the following members: Senator Lapid, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator Ejercito, and Senator Villanueva as members, and we designate Senator Ejercito as vice chairperson of the committee.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Let me just go back to the Committee on Ethics. Senator Soto wants to have Senator Pangilinan as his vice chairperson of the committee. For the record.
Yes, any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Thank you. We have also elections of the new the committees of new members. On the Committee on Economic Affairs, move to elect Senator Risa Ontiveros as chairperson of the Committee on Economic Affairs. And on part of the majority, elect the following members: Senator Lacson, Senator Aquino, Senator Pangilinan. Of course, and the 2 deputy majority leaders, Senator Ejercito, Senator Villanueva. We'd like to also manifest the designation of Senator Lacson as vice chairperson of the committee. I so move.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, on the part of the Committee on Environment, there's 9 members in the minority, 9 members in the majority, 8 in the minority. We move to elect Senator Raffy Tulfo as chairperson, and on the part of the majority, we elect the following members: Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Lapid, Senator Escudero, Senator Aquino, Senator Lacson, and Senator Ejercito, and Senator Villanueva. And we move also to designate Senator Escudero as vice chairperson of the committee.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, for the Committee on Public Order, of which Senator Lacson is the presiding committee chair, there's 6 in the majority, 5 in the minority, and I move to elect the following members: Senators Erwin Tulfo, Senator Raffy Tulfo, Senator Ontiveros, and Senator J.V. Ejercito, and Senator Villanueva, and designate Senator Soto and Senator Ejercito as vice chairpersons of the committee.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is carried.
Mr. President, on the Committee on Urban Planning, Housing, and Resettlement, there are 5 members of the majority and 6 members in the majority, 5 in the minority. We move to, and this is headed by Senator Chis Escudero. On the part of the majority, we'd like to elect Senator Aquino, Senator Raffy Tulfo, Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator J.V. Ejercito, and Senator Villanueva. I so move, Mr.
Is
President.
there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move to elect the members of the Committee on Electoral Reforms and People's Participation. We move to elect Senator Vicente Soto III as chairperson of the committee. And the part of the majority, elect the following members: Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Raffy Tulfo, Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Risa Ontiveros, and Senators Ejercito and Villanueva. And also manifest the designation of Senator Ontiveros as vice chair of the committee.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
On the Committee on Higher and Technical Vocational Education, I move to elect 2 additional members of the committee. On the part of the majority, Senator Hontiveros and Senator Lapid, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
And Mr. President, on the part of the Committee on Finance, upon the instruction of the chairperson, I manifest to designate the following as vice chairpersons: Senator Pangilinan, Senator Aquino, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Villanueva, and Senator Lacson.
Is there any objection? Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Speaks admin matters? Any other matters?
Okay, ba sa
Oh, yes. May I ask for a minute suspension, Mr. President?
session suspended. Session
Mr. President, we should, I move to consider to take up proposed Senate Resolution number 453, and the Secretary is directed to read the title of the resolution without prejudice to inserting to the record the full text thereof, Mr. President.
A resolution informing the House of Representatives that a quorum is present in the Senate and that this body has entered upon the exercise of its functions to act on urgent legislative measures and to allow the Commission on Appointment to convene and act on appointments made to the Cabinet, the military, and the Foreign Service in accordance with the Constitution, applicable laws, rules, and regulations in a special session called by President of the Philippines pursuant to Proclamation number 1318 dated 15 June 2026.
Mr. President, I move to adopt Senate Resolution number 453.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, Senate Resolution 453 is hereby adopted.
Mr. President, I move to consider proposed Senate concurrent resolution number 11. The Secretary is directed to read the title of the measure without prejudice to inserting the full text thereof.
Concurrent resolution creating a joint committee of both houses to notify the President of the Philippines that Congress has convened its first special session and there being a quorum, said Congress has already entered upon the exercise of its functions.
Mr. President, I move to adopt the Senate concurrent resolution number 11.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, Senate Concurrent Resolution number 11 is hereby adopted.
Mr. President, I move to just, with the indulgence of the body, we suspend for just one more minute. That is a very important measure. I think it was one of those that the President had included in his message to the House and the Senate for the special session. And it's a LEDAC measure. So in a few minutes, mabubuo na po yung signature, we can ratify this. So I move to suspend for
Session suspended.
Mr. President, I know we were waiting for the AIX BICAM, but we have some information from the chairperson. May we recognize our distinguished colleague from Palawan, the Republic of the Philippines, Senator Erwin Tulfo. for
We
his
recognize the gentleman from Palawan, Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo, Majority Floor Leader. Nais ko pong i-anunsyo dito po sa plenaryo ngayon na yung inaantay po natin na yung AIX bill, yung Assistance for Individual in Crisis Situation, na dapat po sana ay ma-ratify natin ngayong hapon, ay hindi po muna matutuloy. Ang sa kadahilanan po na ayaw pong pumirma ng ating counterpart sa mababang kapulungan. Dahil po sa ilang probisyon at tila hindi po sila natutuwa doon po sa kasama sa probisyon na yon ng AIX, ang anti-EPAL section. Ibig sabihin po na dapat ang pagbibigay ng AIX o ayuda ay wala ng kasamang politiko o siya mismo ang nagbibigay ng ayuda sa mga tao, na ang pondo ay galing sa DSWD. Na sa totoo lamang po ay hindi naman po pera ito ng politiko, ito po ay pera ng taong bayan. Ito po yata, Ginoong Pangulo, ang hindi po natutuwa ang ating mga kasamahan sa bababang kapulungan. Kaya ayaw po nilang pirmahan at kailangan pa daw pag-aralan. So ito na naman po tayo, matetenga po ang batas na ito. Kaya nga po, ano man po ang gawin natin, lahat po tayo dito sa Senado ay pumirma na po para ma-ratify na ito. Ayaw naman po ng ating mga kasamahan sa mababang kapulungan. Sana po ay magbago pa ka ng isip dahil ito naman po ay para sa interes ng mga mahihirap nating kababayan. Isang tabi po muna natin ang interes natin, ang interes ng grupo, pansariling interes. Unahin po natin ang kapakanan ng mga kababayan natin na nangangailangan ng tulong. Yan lamang po, Ginoong Pangulo. Maraming salamat po.
Actually po, yung anti-EPAL provision, hindi ho bago yan. Dito po sa 2026 GAA, mayroon na ho tayong special provision, courtesy ni Senator Lacson. Siya po ang nag-present at nag-propose nung anti-EPAL provision in the 2026 GAA. So itong pinapropose po ninyo ay in-institutionalize lang, no, itong anti-EPAL provision. So maganda ho mapag-usapan to sa mga susunod na BICAM conference meeting para mapag-usapan mabuti. Pero hindi ho ito bago at ito ay kasama po sa mga reformang in-implement ho natin dito sa 2026 GAA.
Hindi po sila natutuwa, Ginoong Pangulo, na ito po ay ma-institutionalize o maging isang ganap na batas na pagbibigay ng ayuda dapat po ay wala ang mga politiko dahil ito na rin po ang hinihingi ng mga kababayan natin. Dahil lumalabas po ito ay ginagamit ng mga politiko lalo na pag malapit na ang halalan ang pagbibigay ng ayuda ng mga politiko. Subalit, ayaw po ng ilang mga kasamahan po natin sa mababang kapulungan. Kailangan pa po yata nila, Ginoong Pangulo, na sila mismo ang mag-aabot ng ayuda bagamat hindi naman nila ito pondo. Hindi naman po nila itong personal na pera. Kaya doon po sa dalawang mambabatas po natin sa mababang kapulungan, sana po mapag-isipan ho ninyo sa mga darating na araw na hindi po ninyo pera, yan, pamimigay na yan, pera po ng taong bayan. Dapat po ang DSWD lamang ang mamigay niyan at hindi kayo ang dapat nagbibigay dyan. Kung yun ang inyong gusto, na pagmumukha ninyo ay makita ng sambayanan ang pagmumudmud ng pondo ng taong bayan, bahiya naman po kayo dahil hindi nyo po pera yan, pera po ng taong bayan. Yan lamang po, Ginoong
Maraming
Pangulo.
salamat. I'm sure po sa BICAM mapag-uusapan ho yan at nakikita ko naman po na maganda po yung layunin ng proposal po ng ating Senado. Majority Leader.
Maraming salamat, Mr. President. Unfortunate that we're not able to ratify this measure, but I'm sure we can hopefully ratify this when we get back after the synergy break. Mr. President, just one last housekeeping. We'd like to also elect the members of the Committee on Accounts, whose chairperson is Senator Ping Lacson. The majority has 7 members, the minority has 6 members. I move to elect the following members of the Committee on Accounts. On the part of the majority, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Lapid, Senator Aquino, Senator Erwin Tulfo, and we designate Senator Soto as the vice chairperson of the committee.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
We also have the 2 deputy majority leaders with us there, Senator J.V. Ejercito and Senator
So recorded.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, Mr. President, we are all ready to hear the address of the new Senate President of the Republic of the Philippines. Mr. President, we'd like to recognize the Senate President.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Magandang gabi po sa lahat. Mga iginagalang kong kasamaan sa Senado, mga kababayan, magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Una sa lahat, taos-pusong akong nagpapasalamat sa aking mga kapwa-senador sa tiwalang inyong ipinagkaloob. Tinatanggap ko ang tungkuling ito ng may buong kababaang loob at malinaw na pagkaunawa sa bigat ng responsibilidad na kaakibat nito. Humarap ako sa inyo bilang kapwa lingkod bayan. Handa akong makinig, makipagtulungan at ibuhos ang aking buong lakas upang gampanan ang tungkuling ipinagkatiwala sa atin. Ang pagkakataong maglingkod bilang Senate President ay hindi pangkaraniwang karangalan. Ito ay araw-araw na panawagan na maging huwaran sa paglilingkod. Higit sa lahat, ang tungkuling ito ay pananagutan sa Senado, sa ating saligang batas, at sa sambayanang Pilipino. Sapagkat ang tungkuling ito ay hindi tungkol sa iisang tao, kundi sa pangangalaga sa isang institusyong dapat magsilbi sa bawat Pilipino. Patid ng buong Senado ang panawagan ng mamayan, magtrabaho ang lehislatura, tugunan ang mga suliraning kinakaharap ng ating bansa, at unahin ang tunay at agarang pangangailangan ng ating mga kababayan. Naririnig namin kayo. Sa gitna ng mataas na presyo ng langis at bilihin, epekto ng lindol sa Mindanao, banta ng Super El Nino at iba pang mahalagang usapin, iisa ang inaasahan ng taong bayan. Malasakit, aksyon at resulta. Kaya ngayong araw, nananawagan ako sa lahat ng aking kasamaan sa Senado, mayora man o minorya, na magsimula tayo muli. Magkaisa sa paglilingkod at harapin ng sama-sama ang mga hamon ng ating bansa. Maaaring magkaiba ang ating mga pananaw, ngunit iisa ang ating misyon, ipagtanggol ang batas at maglingkod sa bayan. Iisa ang ating layunin, alagaan ang kapakanan ng bawat Pilipino. As we take on the urgent work before us, let us reclaim our sense of purpose and move the Senate forward with discipline, fidelity to our mandate, and commitment to the Filipino people. Ang nais natin ay isang Senado para sa tao, isang Senado na bukas sa pakikipag-usap, isang Senado na nakatuon sa solusyon. Sa bawat Pilipino, ito ang aming pangako. Magtatrabaho ang buong Senado para sa inyo. Muli, maraming salamat sa inyong tiwala. Sa abot ng aking makakaya, paglilingkuran ko ang institusyong ito at ang ating bayan ng may buong paggalang, sipag at katapatan. Mabuhay ang Senado, mabuhay ang sambayanang Pilipino. Maraming salamat po.
Congratulations, Mr. President. And we're very happy and moved that we finally can go back to work. We thank our dear colleagues for their sacrifices all this time, of course. And I just like to personally put on record my deep appreciation to Senator Joel Villanueva and Senator Chis Escudero, and to all the members who took their time out to really be present here in those trying times, Mr. President.
Likewise, I
And,
would like to thank yung
And the
kam-
accomplishments today, Mr. President, for all those who came to session, we were able to pass three bills on third reading, about 3 measures for second reading. We ratified 1 measure today. We were able to do the appointments of the generals and foreign service officers and ambassadors, Mr. President of the DFA. So, and then we elected the committee memberships and we elected the committee chairmanships. Marami po tayong nagawa. In one day, we were able to do a lot of work. And we thank all the members who are present here today, both from the majority and from the minority, Mr. President.
Likewise, I would like to thank Senator Joel Villanueva. Magkasama na muli ang kambal ng Senado. Marami na ulit magkakamali ho dahil magkahawig ho kami. At maraming salamat.
Pero hindi pa rin po tayo pipigil na maghanap ng kadate mo, Mr. President. Dahil maawa naman ako na yun sa secretariat. Baka hindi sila makakauwi ng maaga, hindi lang staff mo. So, with that, Mr. President, I move that the first session of Congress and the first special session of the 20th Congress on the part of the Senate be adjourned sine die.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Oh, wait. I withdraw my motion, Mr. President. I move to suspend. I move to suspend just 1 minute because
Session
we have
suspended.
good news from the House. Would we recognize Senator Erwin Tulfo, Mr. President?
We recognize Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Mr. Chair, while we waited for several minutes for our counterpart, the lower house, to sign that AIX bill, unfortunately, we are on a deadlock. Ayaw pong pirmahan at gusto po nilang nakikiusap po na pag-aralan pang mabuti ang ilang probisyon ng nasabing panukalang batas. Partikular po ang Section 17 kung saan nakasaad po doon na bawal po ang politiko mamigay ng ayuda, lalo na po ng DSWD. Pag-aralan daw po nila doon. Hindi ko po maintindihan kung ano pa pong pag-aaralan pa. The section says, clearly specifies na bawal po ang isang politiko na mamigay ng ayuda na galing po sa DSWD mismo. Yun po yung pinagkatatalunan po namin kanina pa po. Unfortunately, we end up nothing. When we waited for them, they also waited. Pero meron pong ilan sa kanila na ayaw pong pirmahan ito dahil kailangan pa daw pag-aralan. Hindi ko maintindihan, Ginoong Pangulo, ano pong pag-aaralan doon? Is it because natatakot po sila na finally, after so many years na ginagamit itong AIX na ito para gamitin sa pamumulitika, ititigil ng batas na ito? What is wrong with that, Mr. President? I don't see anything wrong na pagbabawalan ng politiko na mag-distribute ng pondo ng DSWD for his personal gains? Well, I don't see the logic, Mr. President. Number one, hindi po natin pondo yan DSWD, AIX na yan. Hindi po dapat ginagamit ng mga politiko yan. Dapat ang DSWD ang namimigay lang yan o ang executive department, ang Pangulo, dahil siya po ang head na lahat ng agencies. Ito po ang nagiging problema, Ginoong Pangulo. So, nais ko na lamang po siguro pag-usapan po natin sa bicameral conference po ito, BICAM, para ma-ironed out ho itong mga gusot na ito. Pero ito lamang po ang Section 17 na ayaw po nila at pinapaalis po na hindi naman po tayo pumapayag dahil inaprubahan po natin dito sa Senado na ilagyan po yung clause na yan. At ginawa na po natin yan last year during our BICAM sa budget. Sinama po natin yung clause na yan na walang politiko ang dapat mamigay ng ayuda. Ginagawa lang po nating batas na ito, Ginoong Pangulo. Ayaw po na lang pirmahan. Ayaw po nilang aprubahan. Kailangan daw muna nilang pag-aralan. Ano ang pag-aaralan dito, Ginoong Pangulo? What is there to study, to review? Na yung politiko wala doon sa pamimigay ng ayuda. Dahil mapopoliticize na naman, magagamit na naman sa eleksyon, sasabihin na naman ng taong bayan, political patronage para ikaw ay sunod-sunuran sa politiko na yan. Kung hindi mo iboto yung politiko na yan, kung hindi ka bobo, hindi ka makakatanggap ng ayuda sa politiko na yan. Matagal na po kasing ginagamit yan eh. Matagal na, Mr. President. It has long been a practice. Ako naririnig ko na ho yan na laging ginagamit po yung AIX na yan sa pamumudmod sa mga kababayan natin, ang kapalit po ng kanilang boto. We are trying to stop that tradition or whatever you want to call it, trying to stop that practice na wag nang magamit ang AIX ng mga politiko. Bagkos dapat ibigay na lang sa mahihirap, Mr. President. And I'm sorry, Mr. President, that all of us waited for several hours, hoping that our counterpart would approve that. Unfortunately, it did not happen today. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. And mas tama ho kayo, Senator Erwin, na mas magandang pag-usapan to sa BICAM, no? Para face-to-face BICAM, para makita natin kung ano yung kanilang mga dahilan. Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, Senator Raffy Tulfo, just for the record also, would like to insert into the record his co-sponsorship speech of Senate Bill number 2272. This is the expanded National Nutrition Program.
So inserted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, our dear colleague, Senator Christopher Bongo, I move to elect him as chairperson with the permission, of course, of the members of the minority, as chairperson of the Committee on Sports and chairperson of the Committee on Youth, Mr. President, for the record.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
And because he's the chairperson of the Committee on Youth and the Committee on Sports, he would like to avail of just a few minutes of our time to give a privileged speech on the death of his kababayan, taga Mindanao, may kababayan as well, taga Agusan po, itong yung isang player ng Ateneo, si Rene, and may we give him the time to do so, Mr. President.
We recognize the gentleman from Davao City, Senator Bongo.
Salamat, Mr. President. Chairperson po ako ng Committee on Sports since 2019 at bilang isang atleta rin po ay napakasakit po sa akin na makita na isang 18-year-old na basketball player na naputol po yung kanyang pangarap, hindi lang po sa kanyang sarili kundi para sa kanyang pamilya. I would like to associate myself with the earlier manifestation of Senator Bam Aquino. At ngayon po, since na-elect po muli as chairperson ng Committee on Sports, ako po'y lubos na nakikiramay sa mga naulilang pamilya at mga mahal sa buhay ni na Rene Clerc, Bobet Baterbonia, and Divine Adili, na nasawi sa kasagsagan ng kanilang basketball training sa Dipakulaw, Aurora. Bilang isang Mindanawan, atleta at basketball player mula pa noong aking kabataan, at miyembro rin po ng Senate Sentinels dito, ating back-to-back champion po sa UNTV Executive Division. Masakit po para sa akin ang pangyayaring ito. Hindi dapat maging kapalit ng pangarap ng isang atleta ang kanyang buhay at kaligtasan. I filed Senate Resolution number 449 expressing my profound sympathy and condolence